Sarah tells me that she is in this thing, that it's called DOS, and then she tells me they branded me as well. And I remember going, something like, what? They did what?
Yeah. There's Lauren. There she is. Lauren was my maid of honor and my officiant and godmother to our son. She said, I want to tell you about something. She said it was incredibly cool. It was incredibly helpful in her life. You know, this is going to help you in your relationship. So this is like why you're stuck in the straight path. This is exactly what you need. This is what you need to be strong. Lauren told me that I had to agree to an initiation process where I'd be getting a mark, like a tattoo. I said, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to commit to that. And that's what I told her. And she's like, this is your commitment to your growth, which is never going to change. And it's going to remind you, it'll be a physical mark of that commitment. I said, what's it look like? She's like, I can't tell you. I was like, I don't want a tattoo. And she's like, don't worry. But I'm trusting her that she knows something that I don't. Lauren asked me to go to Albany for an initiation ceremony. So we get there. And as a part of the initiation ceremony, you get a tattoo that like all the sisters have, and like we'll all know that we have it, and it's really cool.
The idea of it is it's 7 lines, and it's also based in the 4 elements. The straight line at the top is the sky, and then there's a mountain, which is the earth. And then the squiggle line is a river.
And Lauren, she was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, it's actually happening. And like, she was all, you know, and she brings me upstairs, we hug, she brings me to her guest room and says, take off your clothes and I'll be back in a little bit. Then she came back, gave me a blindfold. I could feel like there were other people around me. And then she said, okay, sisters, take off your blindfolds. And we took our blindfolds off and I saw who I was sitting with. Now, I'm sitting buck naked, cross-legged on a sheepskin rug with 4 other women who I know, and some of them I've known for years. And we're all like, oh my God, this is so weird. And she's like, guys, it's just your bodies. You have to get over your issues. So we're like, you know. We piled into her car, put blindfolds on again, drove somewhere we're supposed to be top secret. But I cheated and looked out of the bottom of my bandana and saw that we were at Alice and Mac's house. So now I know Allie's involved. We were shuffled into a tiny little guest room. Then we saw a medical table, like a massage table. I found out I was not getting a tattoo. I was going to be branded. And at that point, for the first time, Lauren showed us her brand. It's not a tattoo. And I just was really freaked out. It's a fucking medical procedure without anesthetic. And the first person lay down on the table and they started to draw a line in her flesh with a cauterizing iron. And her flesh started to burn and smoke and sizzle. We had to hold her down. We were crying, we were shaking, we were holding each other. One of my other sisters and I were looking at each other like, what the fuck? Like, where the fuck are we? How did we get here? So we're like all naked with this woman having her flesh seared open, and she is freaking out. She's like, I remember thinking she's like a stuck pig. We were holding her so she would stay still, or like the line would have been jagged. And she is crying, twisting and turning. Each person took 30 minutes, so I had 2 hours of watching other people get branded, and they weren't doing well. They were squirming, they were crying, they were twitching, they were sweating, and at one point Lauren pulled me aside and said, you need to show them how to do this. I was just thinking, how the fuck am I gonna get out? How the fuck am I gonna get out of here? I was even thinking about texting Nippy and saying like, hey, I think I'm at Alice and Mac's house. I'm naked, help me. Could have walked out, naked into the street and figured out how to get a cab. It was not an option for me. I'm feeling the most fear I've ever felt in my life. Everything in my body was going, don't do this, get the fuck out. This is not a good thing to do. The other part of me is going, I'm a fucking pussy, I gotta be strong. And I said to Lauren, I don't wanna do this. She was using my values against me. You need to do this because you committed to this, and this is what you need to be the strongest version of yourself and to like save your marriage and be a good mom. And I trusted her in that. And I said to myself, lay down on the table. You said you're gonna do it. Suck it up. Don't be a wimp. Get on the table and just do it. I lay on the table. Well, I'm like, I can do this. I can do it. And I lay totally still. And she was literally EMing me just before I got branded. What's the worst thing that can happen? What does it mean to be afraid? The point they said of the whole branding is to do something character building, to build your capacity to experience pain, to experience your body as separate from yourself. I disassociated out of my body. And I just like triggered a state of love. And I just thought about my son. And I thought about the moment when I was actually giving birth to him. And all the other women were like, oh my God, Sarah didn't even move. I don't think people can imagine what it's like to have your skin seared open by a hot cauterizing iron for 40 or 45 minutes. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. And then of course, when I opened my eyes, there's Lauren looking down at me going, you're doing so great. And I'm weeping and she's weeping and everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I came out of that being like, holy fuck, I did it. I can do anything. I walked around thinking, I did that even though I didn't want to, which is the whole thing that Keith has taught us. As women, if we don't want to do it, we don't do it. And that's so flaky and indulgent. And I did it. I'm feeling love for Lauren and love for these women I just endured this trauma with. Put me into a place of pride.
You know, that brand was a really powerful moment you saw with me and you.
Yeah.
You know, it was really beautiful. I cried.
I thought it was so beautiful.
So beautiful.
And I
Lauren.
had that
It
same
really was.
experience of
It really was. It really, really was.
By the time you're that far in and you've so internalized the belief system, you believe that this is what you need to do in order to reach whatever that level is that they're promising you, and in order to respect, you know, your revered leader.
Until I realized what the symbol was. There's this whole description of what all the lines meant. But really, you need to turn your head to the side. It's a brand of Keith's initials. Keith's initials on my crotch. And I was like, what the fuck? Do you want to see it?
I've actually seen pictures of your brand, but if you want to show me, I will see it.
Do it right now, do it.
Hoy le vamos a presentar un video en exclusiva que muestra una de las ceremonias que realizaban para marcar.
During the trial, a video of Sarah Edmondson's branding ceremony was leaked in the Mexican press. I think it was probably ordered by Keith from prison to be released through someone in the organization in Mexico to the Mexican media as a threat to Sarah Edmondson. It was meant to scare her and anybody else who was in DOS so that they wouldn't speak out against NXIVM.